Well, good morning. Goodness gracious. We're back out here in the garage getting ready to put the final touches on our project today. We're going to finish it up. Hopefully by the end of tonight, the top will be completely dry after a couple, 2 or 3 coats of what they call poly shades. Where's my poly shades? Right here. It's pecan satin poly shades. It's a polyurethane stain mix that I'm going to put on there. But yeah, that's going to start today. I'm going to do a little bit of preliminary sanding on it. It's really nice. This top that you see right on top here it's pre-sanded, and it's very nice. But the edges are very sharp, pointy edges. You don't want to catch your knee on there or catch an elbow. And underneath is kind of sharp. The top ones are sharp. Everything's sharp. So I'm going to use my little sanding blocks that we bought at the store the other day, and I'm not going to round them over, but I'm going to take the sharpness off of there so that it doesn't quite feel as abrasive. It won't catch you and rip a hole in your skin. We don't want these things that I make to actually hurt my wife, so we're going to do it that way. Here's the bottom. This was yesterday's construction project. Look at that baby. It didn't turn out to be too bad of a color. I kind of like it, actually. Probably by maybe to end tonight, most likely tomorrow. We will see. We'll see how this goes. I mean, I'm getting a fairly early start on this thing. Takes about 3.5 to 4 hours between coats. Maybe if I get a decent dry after the second coat, I'll marry these two up tonight, and we'll just let it sit in the garage finished, and we'll bring it in the house tomorrow, because I need it to, even after it's done, I want it to kind of outgas a little bit, which is what it does as it dries. There's still a lot of fumes. Anyway, we wanted to do that before I actually drag it in the house. All right, so let me put you in the stand here, and we're going to do a little preliminary sanding. I won't make you watch the whole process, and then we'll start with putting our first coat of pecan poly shade coating on there, or a finish. All right. My little sanding blocks. What I'm going to do here a little bit is these corners right here at the corners, they're very sharp. I mean, it hurts to bump into that. If you were to walk past that and scrape your hip on it or your leg, it'd tear a hole in your leg, and you don't want that to happen. You want it to be smoother, to where you can put your hand on there and it doesn't leave scars. So what you need to do is knock some of that down, and that's what this sanding is going to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm just kind of working these edges here to kind of take that sharpness off of there. It just kind of puts the smallest little round corner on there. It's not something that's easily discernible from a distance, but it takes the point off of it. Not to put too fine of a point on it, but it really makes it a lot more comfortable to bump into if you happen to bump into it. See, you would bleed if you did that before. And it still looks pretty nice, but it's nice, and it's still got a nice sharp corner. And then along here, these edges, you don't want to be able to run your arm along here while you're working on something and turn or something and pick up a sliver, because some of these they're pretty sharp also. This is just cut and probably rough and sanded just on the surfaces. They don't do a lot on the sides. or at least they don't round them over nicely so that you're not going to pick up slivers. There's a level of effort you got to put into these things. So I will, that's what my plan is, to take and kind of soften, it's a good word, soften the edges on these a little bit. I'll work the ends, because this is going to be end grain down here. Takes a little more work, but for the most part, this is going to be the initial sanding for this thing. Alright, I have been sanding on the edges, the corners, these, I don't know, I guess those are edges too. Edges and corners and top. Edges, corners, top. Okay, I've been sanding on this thing for probably 15-20 minutes maybe, and I've got it pretty much done. I mean, I've gone over the top with this stuff. This is my 4th time now, and it sounds a lot smoother than it did when I started. I went all along these edges here. I worked the ends real nice, and now, I mean, you're not going to get a sliver on that. That's smooth as glass on the edges. The corners are, I don't know if you can see that or not, but let's do it here. These corners, they're nice. Though you're not going to cut on those anymore. That's perfect. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to get me a little tack cloth and kind of wipe this down. That's where we are. I'm going to spend a couple minutes wiping this thing down and preparing it for our first coat of poly. I will bring you back when we're all set up for poly. Okay, sanding is done. It's all finished. I wiped it all down with this clean rag. This was a brand new rag, never been used for anything. I wiped all the dust off of it. It is really very smooth right now. We're going to put a coat of poly on here. The brushes we bought yesterday, these are just little cheapy brushes, which is fine. You can see down here, I hope. I want to start with the edges here. Get the edges real nice. Gonna dab that on there. Get any drips off of it, and then we're gonna Perfect. And then we'll do the top. say you always want to work with a wet edge, and what that means is, let me get the end here. It means the edge that you're working this way with, you should always try to work into something that's wet. You don't want to let it get dry, because then you're going to be putting another coat on top of one that's there, and you'll see a darker spot. So it's something you want to do fairly quickly, but it's not like a race. We're almost halfway down this board already, but yeah, I'm going to continue this process. I will bring you back and we'll show you what it looks like before we go take us a 4-hour break. Okay, our first coat of poly is on and is currently drying, actually. So we'll just give you a quick walkabout of it and kind of show you what it looks like. You can see in the shine there that it has a pretty good shine, but there are a few areas where it's going to soak in faster than other areas. Like right here, this little area, it's going to soak in. It looks like it's going to soak in over there. That shine is just coming from outside of the house. The darker spot here, it's reflecting off the trees that are over here. Anyway, so you'll see that it'll soak in areas faster than other areas. But I got the edges all finished. I got my first coat on the top. I got some big nasty machine going by outside making all kinds of racket. And anyway, here it is. What we're going to do is we're just going to let this thing sit here for about 4 hours, 3.5, 4 hours. I'll come out in a couple and check it. If it's good, we'll do it. If it's not, we won't. All right, here we are. It's been about 3.5 hours right now, and it's I mean, if you look at it, it looks pretty nice. This is the initial coat that I put on here this morning at 11 o'clock, and it's dry until you get to these knots. You run over those knots, and those are still just a little bit tacky because they're not absorbing it quite as well, and it's got to physically dry on those things. I think the fact that the rest of it feels dry is that a lot of that's just pine board, and a lot of it just got absorbed into the wood. But what we're looking at on those knots, that's not going to absorb it very quickly. So we're still going to give it another couple of hours before I come out here and start sanding and grinding away on this thing with some sandpaper. Our first coat is done. It's ready for a light sanding. It's been almost 9 hours, 8 hours. It took a long time for this coat to dry. And I'm like, wow, what a process this has been. Anyway, I'm gonna give this thing a light coat, a light sanding with our sanding block here. I just want to knock down any of the little burrs on it. Rough up the surface a little bit. Oh, see, that's really nice and smooth compared to this back here. Can you hear that? Listen. Quite a difference, actually. What I'm going to do, make sure that this is nice and clean. Not feeling anything on here. All right. I'll bring you back when I get this everything set up for my next painting. All righty, I think I'm ready to go. After our last coat this morning, I took the brush and I stuck it in this little Ziploc bag here so it wouldn't dry out. This will keep it from being disastrously hard. Yeah, perfect. Let me do the edges again. Just like before, go around, do all the edges. All right, let's go ahead and get the top real quick. There's a bunch of kids across the street. I can hear them over there. It's getting close to Halloween. I opened the door just a crack to let some air in here. I can hear the kids across the street. They're having a little, it's almost Halloween. It's like the 28th. I think there's a church over there and they're having something called Trunk or Treat, where everybody comes there in their outfits and the kids all know each other and they all get to hang out and go around to these trunks that are all decorated in the back of these cars. People bring their cars there and decorate their trunks up like some scary thing, and the kids just walk around in the different cars. I've done these before at churches that we've gone to, and they end up being kind of cool. Anyway, I'll bring you back. All right, so there it is. It's all finished. I don't know if you're going to be able to oh, you can get the reflection of the light that's on the ceiling in that thing. It's pretty good. It turned out really nice. Actually, I think once this dries up, it could probably use another one, but this is going to be a little crafting table, a little painting table. She's going to make, I think she wants to start making some jewelry. She's going to do her watercolors on there, her water painting. So this is going to be a crafting table. That's not going to be something that's going to be sitting in the living room looking to be some kind of glamorous thing. That's a project table. So I'm kind of thinking that this is going to be it. I'm going to turn this fan back on here and let this blow across it tonight. Perfect. And we'll come out in the morning and see what we got. We'll marry those two things up. All right, I'll talk to you later. Good morning. We had a storm last night. Rained pretty good. Not in here though. Perfect. This turned out really nice. Let me run you past it real quick so you can see a reflection. What do you think? I think she turned out really nice. Pretty cool. Well, what the plan for today is we're gonna marry these two pieces together, and I have a little a center brace that's got to go in there, so I need to cut another piece with the chop saw, and I need to drill a couple more pocket holes for the center piece. It goes in that in the bottom section, and it'll go right across the middle here on the bottom side. So I still got to make that piece. That won't take but a second. Let me get things set up, and I will bring you back when it's time to hit it. I still need to put this brace in between here. This is going to tie these two pieces together in the center, and I'm going to screw it in a couple places there and on the sides here. So we're going to chop it to fit. I'm going to do some pocket hole drilling, and then we'll put this whole thing together. All I'm doing is I've run it up against that edge over there, kind of holding a little bit of pressure on it, and I'm going to mark it. My little square here. Zip a line across it, and now we're gonna chop that off, and we're gonna drill some holes. Okay. Well, we are in the final stretch of putting this table together and making it one piece. I mean, I've got the center brace in, which will really tie the top and the bottom together and give it some rigidity in the center. But what I want to do is I want to beef up the legs a little bit. Before we tie these two things together, I'm going to tie the legs and the aprons together a little bit more and give them a little bit more rigidity in case you want to use it for something heavier than maybe a hobby table. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to prepare things to make that happen, and I'll bring you back and give you a little demo on how that should look. All right, we've made a little progress on this effort. Let me show you what we got here. First of all, I've obviously cut a whole bunch of little 45-degree wedges off of these boards right here. You can see that, I hope. All right, what am I going to do with those? Well, I'll show you what I'm going to do with those. Let's go over to the table. This thing is going to go right here in the corner. And then to secure that, I will obviously put some screws in here and here. But then to take that, to add this whole operation to it, this is going to be drilled through this board into this leg. Okay, what I'm going to do is I need to make a little flat spot on this side of it here so that I can drill into there without the drill wobbling back and forth past this point. So I'm chiseling out just a little bit of a flat spot. I drove the chisel in right there, about 2 or 3 hits, and then right there 2 or 3 hits, and now I'm just going to kind of chisel that out a little bit. Do that from the other side. Just like that. That's exactly what that should look like. Now I've done that to all of the corners, and what we're going to do next is I'm going to start putting these corners together. I'll show you how to drill it and put the screws in. Okay, let me catch you up real quick here. What I have here are the little boards that we cut. These are the ones with the 45s on them. I've done some measuring and some lines I put on here. Each one of these boards corresponds with a specific corner on the table. Let's just grab this one here. This is number 4. Let's go out here to leg 4. Now this is going to go here, obviously, and the reason I've got all these lines and stuff on here is so that when I drill that hole through there, I want this line to line up with the very center of this thing right here. And then down here, I've got a little X on that. Let's go over here and look at it. Down here, I've got a little X on that, and I want to be able to drill through that hole right there. And when I go through there, I want it to correspond with that right there. I want to hit that spot. Now that spot's going to be a different size hole than this one. I want the screw to go through here without biting, but I want it to bite into that. So this one's going to be slightly smaller. So now we're going to select some drill bits, and we're going to start the process of drilling. This is just a scrap piece of wood. Now I want this screw, oh, here we go. I want this screw to just push through there. I don't want this to bite into this, because that's going to be these boards right here. I just want it to go through and pull this board against everything else. So I don't want any bite in this board right here. The other one, the other board, or the other screw drill has to be something like this right here. And I'm going to take you outside and show you what I'm looking at, because there's more sun out there. I'm hoping you can see this. Here are the threads on this thing. And I want the drill to be as big as the shank, and I just want a little bit of threads to stick out past the top and the bottom of that drill, so that those threads will bite into that other wood, but it'll allow the shank to come in there. That's the plan. All right, I've done the other ones already. They're all done. I'm going to show you how I actually attach this thing to the inside of this. We're going to put a little glue on here because, well, everything gets glued in this project. Spread that out real nice. Put it thin. All right, what I want to do now is I'm going to set it kind of in place right there. I want to clamp it real well. Make sure my edges are lined up. This one dropped. Then, put a couple of screws in it. Oh. Wasn't exactly what I was hoping for. Well, hold on. Man. So you get to see the disaster right here, live on television. Let's see how this one goes. There. Well, I guess it's going to be where it wants to be. The important part is that it's there and it's providing me a place to screw into the leg with. All right, now we're going to start putting in the big bolts. Okay, I got me a ratchet. What size is this? 7/16 actually. We're going to drive that thing in there. My head in the way. I hope not. Now, if everything went well, I should have drilled a hole in there, at least back into this area back here, and this shouldn't. I can feel it's grabbing pretty damn good, actually. There it is. We're snug out here. You know, I don't want to tighten that up so tight that it just. Holy macaroni. All right, there it is. I got my corners put in. Those things are really tight. Now this is the level of sturdiness that you'd probably want to go to if you were going to make this into some kind of a dining room table. You'd have a little wider top on it maybe. But yeah, this will really make it sturdy. Although the other one will work fine for a crafting table because you're not having a lot of real heavyweight stuff on it. But a dining room table, that seems to take a little bit more abuse with people on it and jostling around and moving in and out and heavy plates and serving dishes and this level of security at the corners is more suited for a heavier operation like a dining room table or something that gets a lot more use. All right, let me clear off that mess in the back and we'll flip this thing over and we will start putting this thing together. All right. Okay, let's put a few of these screws in here. Again, I want to clamp this stuff down so that when I drive them in, I don't get any jostling about. Let's put it down here at the end. I'll put one over here. That way it's not going to move. Sometimes it does that. Probably can't see over here, can you? All right. I will, I'll finish going around this thing and then we'll do the big reveal. How's that? Let's see how she stands here. Nice. Well, get a little heavier than it was. There you go. Nice. I like it. Perfecto. Yeah, nice, nice. Well, I appreciate you guys watching. Thanks a lot for coming along for the ride. It's been a good time, and I know that this is way off the mark from what I usually do on this channel with the motorcycle and the drone and going out and flying something around here, but that's the problem, going out and flying something around here, because, well, this place, I've said it before, from Pensacola and the Naval Air Station all the way to Panama City and Tyndall Air Force Base, and you got Eglin right here in the middle, and there's Hurlburt Field there somewhere between here and Pensacola. Oh my gosh, there is military everywhere, and then once you get out of the city limits and get into the stuff between here and nowhere, it's all property that's owned by the government, by the Air Force specifically, and there's signs on every little exit ramp that says no coming in here, no fun allowed, go the heck away. So I got to come up with something different to do, and this I've been working with wood a long time. I'm not 21 years old anymore, so I've developed a few hobbies in my life, and puttering with wood is one of them, and I kind of enjoy it. So I thought we would put this project together, and I thought I would bring you along for the ride. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you maybe learned something. If you didn't, well, that's fine. Maybe you already knew that, but it's a project that was simple to build, and nothing really too complicated about it. You just got to have a few tools and some patience. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I appreciate it. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you want, subscribe to the channel. I'd love to have you along. We'll get back to doing some more bike riding and some mountain flying. Wow, we have some wind blowing out there. Oop. Anyway, we'll get back to the regular scheduled programming on the channel eventually, but right now this is kind of just filling a niche. Appreciate you guys coming along. You guys have a great day. Thank you.